1.3 Social and economic changes that swept 19th century European society. 1.3.1 French Revolution. The French Revolution of 1789 marked a turning point in the history of human struggle for liberty, fraternity, and equality. It put an end to the age of feudalism and ushered in a new order of society. An important contribution of this revolution was the far-reaching changes that it brought, not only French society, but in societies throughout Europe. Even distant countries in other continents such as India were influenced by the ideas generated during this revolution. Ideas like liberty, fraternity, and equality, which now form a part of the preamble to the Constitution of India, owe their origin to the French Revolution. France, like other European countries during the 18th century, had entered the age of reason and rationalism. Major philosophers, whose ideas influenced the French people, were rationalists who believed that all true things could be proved by reason. Some of these thinkers were Montesquieu, 1689 to 1755, Locke, 1630 to 1704, Voltaire, 1694 to 1778, and Rousseau, 1712 to 1778. The ferment created by these ideas along with the prevailing social conditions in the French society led to the French Revolution, which marked an end of despotic monarchy. It changed the political structure of European society and replaced the age of feudalism by heralding the arrival of liberal democracy. The long series of political revolutions that were ushered in by the French Revolution in 1789 and carried over through the 19th century was the most immediate factor in the rise of sociological theorizing. The impact of these revolutions on many societies was enormous and led to many positive changes. However, what attracted the attention of many early theorists were not the positive consequences, but the negative effects of such radical changes. These writers were particularly disturbed by the resulting chaos and disorder, especially in France, and wanted to restore order in the society. Some of the more extreme thinkers of this period literally wanted a return to the peaceful and relatively orderly days of the Middle Ages. The more rational thinkers recognized that social change had made such a return impossible. Thus they sought instead to find new bases of order in societies that had been overturned by the political revolutions of the 18th and 19th centuries. This interest in the issue of social order was one of the major concerns of classical sociological theorists, especially Comte, Durkheim, and Parsons. Another development of the late 18th and early 19th century, which also greatly shaped up the context for sociology to emerge, was the Industrial Revolution. The early sociologists were greatly disturbed by the changes taking place in the society with the onset of industrialization, which, with its massive rural to urban migration, changed patterns of living, hardened an exploitative class structure, all such themes which rose questions fundamental to the development of many sociological theories like Karl Marx's Critique to Capitalism. 1.3.2 Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution was not a single event but refers to a set of interrelated developments that led to the transformation of the Western world from a largely agrarian system to an overwhelmingly industrial one. It began around 1760 AD in England and brought about great changes in the social and economic life of the people, initially in England, and later spread to other countries of Europe. In Europe, especially England, the discovery of new territories, explorations, growth of trade and commerce, and the consequent growth of towns brought about an increase in demand for goods. Within this system, a few profited greatly while the majority worked long hours and for a paltry amount of money. 11. During Industrial Revolution, new tools and techniques were invented which could produce goods on a large scale. Spinning jenny, invented in 1767 by James Hargreaves, led to speeding up of production activity. Arkwright in 1769 invented another tool, called Arkwright's water frame, which was so large that it could not be kept in one's home and a special building was required to set it up. On account of this, it is often said that the factory system was introduced. This led to a change in economy from a feudal to a capitalist system of production. Subsequently, a new class of capitalists emerged who controlled this new system of production. Due to this revolution, society moved from the old age of hand-made goods to the new age of machine-made goods. This shift heralded the emergence of Industrial Revolution. Impact of the Industrial Revolution on society. With the change in the economy, several changes in the society followed. As capitalism became more and more complex, the developments of banks, insurance companies, and finance corporations took place. New class of industrial workers, managers, capitalists emerged. The peasants in the new industrial society found themselves with thousands of other people like themselves, winding cotton in a textile mill. Instead of the open and bright countryside, they were now living in dirt and squalor. With the increase in production, population started increasing. Rise of population accompanied by massive rural to urban migration led to urbanization. The industrial cities grew rapidly. These industrial cities were marked by huge socio-economic disparities. These changes concerned both conservative and radical thinkers. The conservatives feared that such conditions would lead to chaos and disorder, while radicals like Friedrich Engels felt that the factory workers would initiate the working class revolution leading to social transformation. Though the concerns were very different from one another, yet social thinkers of that time were united in the impact the Industrial Revolution would possibly cause. They also agreed upon the importance of the new working class. Thus, important themes of the Industrial Revolution, which concerned the early sociologists, were the condition of the labor, transformation of property, urbanization, and technology. 1.4 The rise of sociological theory. As we saw in the beginning, at the time when sociology was shaping up as a subject, intellectual ferment was being witnessed in Europe in the form of Enlightenment. This was a period of remarkable intellectual development and change in philosophical thought. Out of the consensus arrived at by the Enlightenment thinkers about the changes taking place in the society, the chief intellectual precursors that led to the emergence of sociology were firstly, the philosophy of history, that is, recognition of the fact that society progresses in stages, patterns, and that because of the presence of this pattern, laws to understand society too can be formulated in a scientific, systematic manner, on the lines of natural sciences. Secondly, the emergence of the quantitative method of social survey. As a method of sociological inquiry, social survey came to be recognized as a tool that could be used to understand the social problems prevailing in the society and thus find solutions for social reform. Conservative reaction to Enlightenment. However, the influence of the Enlightenment on sociological theory was not so much direct and positive as it was indirect and negative. In fact, conservative reactionists to the Enlightenment like Louis de Bonald (1754–1840) and Joseph D. Maistre (1753–1821) contributed as much to the development of sociology as did scholars who were influenced by the Enlightenment. De Bonald was deeply perturbed by the profound and revolutionary changes that led to the establishment of a highly impersonal urban city life, completely devoid of any community bonding, and advocated a return to the peace and stability of the previous times. To that extent, sociology, with its emphasis on society as a unit of analysis, rather than the individual, the recognition of the various parts of the society as interrelated and interdependent, and stress on ultimate harmony and stability in the society can be said to be influenced by the conservative reaction. In fact, it would be appropriate to say that while the goals of sociology have been influenced by the conservative thought, harmony, stability, and unity, the methods have been influenced by the Enlightenment thinkers who realized that though one can't go back to the past, but can create a better society using a new knowledge of the society, scientific method. Retzer 2016. Thus, Enlightenment and conservative thought combine to create the science of sociology. Also, these intellectual stirrings were not isolated from the social milieu prevailing in 18th-19th century Western Europe.